I'm now going to briefly touch on Lakanal House. We've recently had the final, the coroner's inquest has happened and the fines have now been in place. Just to give you background, if you're not aware of the Lakanal House fire, the fire occurred on the 3rd of July 2009 at 4:10 in the afternoon. It occurred in a flat on the 9th floor of a 14-storey block. There were 18 fire engines on site tackling that blaze at its height. 6 people died and 150 people were rescued. That's in the UK just a few years ago. So what happened? You'll see that the fire started due to an electrical fault in a TV on the 9th floor of the property. Fire spread up the building to the flats above and caused the escape routes to become smoke-logged, making it impossible for anyone to get out of the building. Not only that, and quite unusually, the fire also spread down the building because flaming droplets were coming off the building and catching some of the flats down below. So highly unusually in this case, fire spread both upwards, as it would naturally do through heat, and downwards, which made it a very difficult building to actually evacuate. One of the things I need to point out is that 1960 tower blocks are not actually designed to be evacuated. They're actually designed to be a series of fire-tight cells. What you'll see on the plans for this building is that the maisonettes, which are flats that are split over 2 floors, had access to a balcony at one level and one and only one staircase for that entire building, which meant that if smoke got into that staircase, there was no way out. If it's designed correctly and maintained correctly, it is perfectly safe for people to remain in their flats. And that is still the advice that's given to this day. So if you're in a block of flats, providing it's designed correctly, been installed correctly, and the fire precaution measures are correct, it is safe to stay in there, even in the event of a fire. What happened? Well, one of the things with a high-rise building is that you cannot evacuate people, you cannot rescue people externally once the building exceeds 30 metres. If you assume that each storey is 2 to 3 metres in height, that's anything probably over about 10 storeys in height. The fire service have to go inside the building to be able to tackle that fire, and the effects of wind are quite dramatic on a building once you get to that height. So what was happening was the fire broke out on a low level and started to be able to spread up the building, and the oncoming wind was able to push it back in. Not only that, as I say, you had, because the cladding should have been fire rated and wasn't fire rated, parts of the cladding falling off and setting fire to the flats below. Internally, there were areas where fire could spread as well. The top 2 photos in this screen show you what we often find, that services have been put in, plumbers have come in, electricians have come in, builders have come in, and they've smashed holes through those fire resisting walls. The walls that I marked on that plan earlier that you saw that need to be maintained as fire compartments. It's essential that any services passing through those are correctly fire stopped, and the lower photo shows you that. The next thing that stops the fire spreading internally within the building is fire doors. We often find that the fire doors are propped open, the seals are not correct on them, or in the particular case that you see here, the second fire door appears to be a fire door, but when you actually go up to it closer, you'll find that the lower panel, instead of being fire rated, is just a sheet of ply, and the top sheet, where the glass is broken so many times, is just plastic. That would not hold the fire back for at least the 30 minutes that's required for the fire service to get on site and to start tackling the blaze. 6 people died in that fire, 150 people had to be evacuated. Southwark Council were responsible for that building. They have their own in-house team to look after that. These are not people that are inexperienced in doing it, and yet we still found ourselves in this situation because they didn't check the cladding, because they didn't check the fire stopping, because they didn't check the fire doors. All of the things that should have been done throughout. As a result of that, they were fined over £270,000. Their costs were £300,000. They invested £63 million in putting right not only that building, but other buildings within their stock as well. So it is a huge bill of something that they've got very wrong.